This is Daniel Lisi. I am a producer at Floatland. We are showing VR Screensavers. So VR Screensavers is a nostalgic journey through the realm of classic screensavers. You get to explore these full spatialized environments. We are going to be launching the project in July, and our goal is to get it on every single headset imaginable. There are classic screensavers that you may recognize. We got the star fields that are, I think, just very reminiscent of childhood. I think, speaking for myself, growing up in the 90s, I would always find myself looking at any screensaver and just wanting to interact with it. And so this project is kind of born out of that nostalgic desire to interact and live inside of these screensaver worlds, which you can now do. We wanted to make these beautiful, easy landscapes that really could connect with a lot of people on that nostalgic level. And VR just kind of felt like the perfect environment for it, because those worlds were always on this flat 2D barrier, and we wanted to open up that barrier. And the best way of doing that in interactive media is VR. What I like about making games is I think it's just one of the most expressive art forms that exists. It brings together so much different forms of art into one cohesive project. And there aren't many environments where you get to collaborate with musicians, with artists, with 3D modelers, with engineers. So games and interactive media, they bring together all of these really wonderful elements in a very exciting way. I was going to IndieCade like in high school. I've been going to it for a long time now, and it's always been a really fascinating place to meet developers as well. And you know, I actually met a lot of the first developers that I now work with at IndieCade, and I started hanging out at a place called Glitch City. I met a lot of developers there, and now I work with those people. The games industry felt so far away. I was trying to figure out how to access it. I was trying to figure out how to actually practically get legs in an industry that I admired from afar. And what IndieCade did was they put the developers right in front of you, and they were just really great people that wanted to talk about their craft and would talk to you about their craft. And IndieCade allowed that accessibility for me, and I know that it provides that level of accessibility to a lot of other people as well. And it's something that I deeply admire about the festival. The first game that I made was very challenging to make. Actually, the first game that I worked on never even got finished, so it was that level of challenging, which I think is kind of a classic thing for software in general, where things get started, feature creep happens, things take longer than anticipated. So yeah, it was a very my first game was a lesson in figuring out how to balance all of the elements required in creating a project like that, a software project like that, and making sure that levels of innovation can be balanced out with practical timelines, and making sure that that development channel could just remain as smooth as possible. It was a massive lesson in learning all of those elements, and it's a continuous lesson. My advice to anyone that is trying to make games or VR right now is to find some level of community, to find other developers, to talk to other developers, to put yourself into a world of people making games rather than isolating yourself in your own world of making games. I also encourage, making stuff, but it is just as important to connect with other people making things as it is to be in your own wizard tower making things. VR Screensavers comes out in July. Please go to float.land for more information, or follow float.land on Instagram. VR Screensavers will be available on all headsets.